Well, welcome back, my friends. It is June 18th, technically Father's Day, and it is 1:32 in the morning. You might be wondering what I'm still doing up. Well, this is not unusual for me or for us on the weekends. That's because every Saturday night, most Saturday nights, the UFC is on, and we're always watching it. And it typically gets done pretty late. And the fights are particularly exciting. Then I don't necessarily feel like going to bed when it's over with. And we just got through watching Jared Cannonier defeat Marvin Vettori. I don't know if you know who they are. I don't know if you watched the fights, but that was an exciting fight. I am no fan of Vettori, but the guy is extremely tough. Cannonier, I think he set the record for the most significant fights, most significant strikes in a fight. But it's only because Vettori is so stinking tough. And he never goes, I mean, he goes down, but he doesn't, no one's ever finished him. No one's ever finished this guy. And while I don't like him, it is impressive. And that was a fight that I think should have been on a pay-per-view card, because there are some pay-per-view fights that are quite lame. And this was not. But there was a couple of, there was one fight that got stopped too soon. That's becoming all too normal. And there was another fight that wasn't stopped soon enough. Actually made me kind of mad. But that's what I like about the UFC. It evokes emotion in us that we don't get to express the rest of the week. And my two sons, they get so excited when they watch it. Of course, my oldest son, he's been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for I think 12 years. He's really good. And so he knows a lot about this. He should be a commentator. He's so good at calling everything in the fight. He says things, he'll say things, he'll make comments while we're watching it, and the commentators are like one breath behind him. I swear he is so tuned in. He knows exactly what to say and when to say it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun for us. A lot of fun. It's been raining all night, and it's raining ever so lightly right now. There's still occasional lightning. For the first time well, not today. I'm at the beginning of the day actually, but all Saturday it's been so hot and humid, just building up, and we're finally getting a cool breeze now. Some of the humidity has died down, but it's still kind of heavy. But it's nice out here. I would love it if it started raining hard again while I'm talking to you guys. So I made one other night talk video on my back porch, and I wasn't going to upload it. I really wasn't. It's like 50 minutes long. I really thought about trashing it. And then I thought to myself, if I do that, then I'm not really... It's almost like saying I don't believe in what I've been talking about. You know, when I've been discussing the things that I've been learning from Seth Godin and just putting my work out there, and not expecting perfection of myself, I have to kind of face the music and understand that I need to put things out there regardless of where I think it lands on the scale, and let you guys decide what you think of it. And you can vote by liking the video. So I went ahead and uploaded it, and I'm going to upload this one. I don't know how long this is going to be, but I really enjoyed making that video, even though I thought about not using it. But I went ahead and did it. I'm going to do the same thing with this. I don't know how long this is going to be. Hopefully this will be a little bit shorter. But if you like the longer content, let me know. And really the only reason I'm doing these two night talk videos like this really late in the evening is because I'm kind of dabbling with the idea of using this format right here for a live stream video. You hear that thunder? You hear that? You hear the rain? I don't know if you do or not. I wish I could do this every night. I really do. Of course, my grass would grow so fast. It already has this week. It's been raining every day, and I feel it kind of spitting through the screen here, but it feels good. But I'm actually thinking about using this kind of format as a live stream. So I'm just kind of feeling it out, kind of dipping my toes in the water, developing a a feel for it and just trying to find out what you guys think. So let me know. If I'm not hitting the mark, tell me, and I'll change it. I can't put out spectacular videos every single time, and I've got to realize that that's okay, because chances are it's probably okay with you guys too. What was I going to talk about with you here? Oh, let me share something with you I read in a book. I like sharing these kind of things right here. I was looking for a t-shirt earlier tonight, and particularly this kind of t-shirt right here, you know, the one with the v-neck. The reason why is because it's easier for me to clip my microphone on here without it being all the way up into my throat. And so I was looking for the baby blue version of this one. But this one's fine, this white one. I forgot that I even had this one. While I was looking for the other one, I told my wife, I said, why is it that when I have a particular shirt in mind, I can go through my drawers and I can never find that one? It doesn't matter what shirt it is. All I have to do is think of the shirt that I want and it will disappear, right? It's like some kind of law. Or you wash your clothes because you have one article of clothing you really want, so you just wash a whole bunch because you probably figure they need it. You pull them out of the dryer, it's not there. Where did it go? Nobody else in your family has it. What kind of law is this that makes this happen? Why are we subject to this? So she was like, well, that's Murphy's Law. And that's a good response. I'd have to agree with that. But I found this page in this book, and it's entitled Immutable Laws. In case you don't know, immutable just means unchanging. Unchanging laws. Let me put my reading glasses on. You know, if you've been watching me for a while, that I need them every single time I open up anything and put it in front of my face. Listen to these. These are kind of funny. This first one's called Zappa's Law. I don't know who Zappa is. I figured it'd only be Frank Zappa. I'm not a fan of his. I never really listened to his music, so I'm sure this probably applies somehow. But Zappa's Law says there are two things on Earth that are universal: hydrogen and stupidity. That's a pretty good observation. Baruch's observation. This comes from Bernard Baruch. It's hard for me to say that word right. Say that name right. Baruch's observation: if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, that's what I like about this, is I completely understand it without question. There are people that that you either can't talk to them, or you can only talk to them in a certain way or about a certain thing because they have this filter that only allows them to be able to process information from one aspect. Or you understand that why they do what they do is because they filter everything in the world wrongly. And they never change that filter out. They never check it. They never clean it. They never replace it. They never question it. So if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And to go further with that, they are the hammer, and everyone else is the nail. You know these people because you feel like you're the nail when you're around them. Okay, Lowe's Law. The lightning's getting really bad, but I like it. I wouldn't go anywhere else. I'm not afraid of sitting out in my back porch with the lightning going on around me. Even though Lakeland is the lightning capital of the United States. It really is. Lakeland is the lightning capital of the United States. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad here. Listen, I had a girlfriend one time who had a 5-year-old brother who was out in his driveway and lightning struck him. And that's pretty devastating. I mean, her parents, I don't think her parents probably ever got over it. But I think lightning can strike you from like 12 miles away. It doesn't even have to appear that there's any lightning on the horizon. and it can still strike you. It's pretty bad here. Everybody knows it. I know people. I know this guy. I met this guy one day on my job who had his house struck by lightning 3 times in one summer. Anyway, let me get back to the topic here. Lowe's Law. I don't know who Lowe is. It's not the store where you buy you know, your stuff. Success always occurs in private and failure in public view. Doesn't it feel that way sometimes? Like something goes right for once. You pull off something spectacular and you wish everybody could have seen it, but if you talk about it, no one will believe you. And it feels good, but you just wish you get some kind of recognition. You wish somebody else could have been a witness to it. And that's just doesn't happen. But your failures seem to happen, as it says, in full public view. That's life. That is life. Todd's Law. Todd's Law. All things being equal, you lose. Yeah, I guess I can be seen from several different ways. It's nice and short. Law, all things being equal, you lose. Thomson's theorem. When things, I'm sorry, let me start over again. When the going gets weird, the weird turns pro. The unspeakable law. As soon as you mention something, if it's good, it goes away. If it's bad, it happens. You know, these people, you got these people out there in this world who believe that you can speak things into existence, whether it's good or bad. You know, they have this way of talking like your words have more power than they do. I don't believe that. I get it. I get that. I get that you can stage your mind to maybe do things in a more positive way, say things in a brighter light, that regardless of what happens, everything seems either good or bad. But I don't think your words have actual power. I think words can be powerful in communicating, but that's not what they're talking about here. They're not talking about communication so much as, you know, things we talk into existence. If it's good, it goes away. So, in other words, this person is saying that even the good things, those don't go away, but the bad does stick around. And I understand that. These are very cynical remarks here, but that's what makes them funny. Green's law of debate. Anything is possible if you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, anything's possible if you don't know what you're talking about. There are so many people that don't have any idea, don't have any clue about how the world works. And this is actually kind of a good comeback. Let people think what they want. Let people say what they want. Don't argue with them, because to them, it's absolutely possible. They're clueless. Heck's law. There is no time like the present to procrastinate. Moving on, the Q principle. The longer you wait in line, the greater the likelihood that you are standing in the wrong line. Well, here's the thing. Imagine going to the store. I think a lot of you listening to this would agree with me. You might think you're standing in the longest line, but for me personally, anytime I move out of a line because I think there's a shorter one, that one somehow instantly takes much longer to go through. And the one I just came from somehow unclogs, like I might have been part of the problem, even though I really wasn't. That's my observation, at least. Isawi's law of progress. Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know who Isawi is. A shortcut is the longest distance between 2 points. Isn't that right? It's kind of like the whole staying in line at a store. If you try to take the short route to get from A to Z, oftentimes it will screw you over big time. Ginsburg's theorem. 1, you can't win. 2, you can't break even. 3, you can't even quit the game. I really, really like this one because you don't have the option of sitting on the sideline and just talking about other people playing the game. You're in it, whether you like it or not, and you can't get out of it. And you can't win, and you can't break even. It's like you're doomed. It's how you feel sometimes, right? The salary axiom. The pay raise is just large enough to increase your taxes and just small enough to have no effect on your take-home pay. Man, isn't that true? Wellington's law of command. The cream rises to the top, so does the scum. Yeah, just beware of what you're getting if you insist on the cream. Todd's 2 political principles. Number 1, no matter what they're telling you, they're not telling you the truth. And number 2, no matter what they're talking about money. That's self-evident. Kirby's comment on committees. A committee is the only life form with 12 stomachs and no brain. Yeah, I would agree. I hate anything like that, anything organized like that, like committees, meetings, so on and so forth. Any kind of arrangement that is designed to just check off boxes. It's annoying. It's annoying to me. So anyway, I thought you might like that. I thought it might give you fodder for conversation when you're talking with others. You might have to go back and write some of these down or get people to listen to this video with you. How's that sound? You know, last time I did this night talk, I was talking about a bunch of books that I was reading, and I left one out. And it's a fairly new one for me, but it's Jude the Obscure by Tom Hardy. I will put a link for this down below, along with all the other books I was talking about, in case you're wondering. I always have currently I have about 6 books going. In that last video, I know it sounded like it was probably a lot more than that. That's because I was talking about ones I had finished up and also ones that I'm currently reading. So it could have gotten a little obscure, as Jude is. But Jude the Obscure is a pretty good book, written by Thomas Hardy. I think it was written in the 1870s. Let me see if I can take a look here. I think it's like 1871 or 1874 or something like that. And and Jude Folly is the main character in this book. He's a young man. He has sat under the tutelage or the teaching of a man he respected when he was a teenager, and that man influenced him to become, a brighter person, someone of education, and someone with some religious backbone. So he wants to follow this man and go where he's going. So this is kind of his journey on to becoming the man he wants to be. But in the meantime, he gets married. Now, I'm not very far into this book, so I'm only going to tell you what I know. I can't give a whole lot away because I just don't know a whole lot yet, but I've been enjoying it. But he ends up inadvertently falling in love with a girl pretty soon because he's 19 years old. It's easy to fall in love with when you're 19. She kind of lures him in. Her and her girlfriends talk about how to catch a man, and she's not really a great person, but he doesn't know that yet because he's just, his hormones are taking over. So anyway, he marries this girl because she tells him that she's pregnant. Now, mind you, this is, like I said, in the mid-1800s, okay? And so they don't make a big deal about it. You would think they would back then. They don't make a big deal about it. They just, this is the right thing to do, is just get married. So they get married. Then she later on tells him, just kind of in passing, it turned out not to be true. And he realizes that her whole point was just to trick him. and he's very upset about this. And then they cannot get along, and they split. And he realizes that she's just a dirty, rotten liar. Ooh, a lot of lightning right there. If I had this on 360, I could actually edit all that into the video. But he realizes she's a dirty, rotten liar. Just a terrible person. Yeah, I'm glad I got to have that on video. That's nice, isn't it? So this is one of the books that addresses one of those rarely mentioned issues, and it's the problem that men have with women. It seems like a lot of books, the men, even in today's culture, the discussion or the perception that is peddled is that the men are stupid, the women are the virtuous ones, they're innocent, they wouldn't lie. And so far, this is addressing it from their viewpoint that no, they're not much different than anybody else, really. I mean, they can be just as rotten. So I'm enjoying this book because it's relatable. You might want to think about picking it up. Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. Like I said, I'll put a link down below. Oh, get this. So I recently, a lot of you guys know I like to wear flat caps. I recently ordered a Peaky hat. You've probably seen their ads on social media. You know, kind of like Boston Scally, but they're just a little bit different design. If you watch Peaky Blinders, it's the kind of hats they have. And they have a whole bunch of different kinds. I ordered my first one the other day, and I finally got this, and I really love the color of this. They even have the opposite color where it's gray on gray here with a blue brim, and I like that one too. I'll probably get it. I just got this today, and I really like this. It's different than what I would normally wear, you know, a little bit different style, but here's what I like about this hat, okay? Not this view. I'm just showing you what it looks like, okay? But what I like about this hat is, number one, the material is really nice. It's really stitched together quite well. I love the way this is made. It feels very durable. And this is breathable. A lot of flat caps or caps of this nature are not very breathable. They're actually kind of hot. They're hard to wear during the summer. This one, if I hold it up to the light, I can see through it. You probably can't. You probably can't on the video, but you can see through it. So you're going to have some air circulation in there. I could wear this during the summer. Okay, so I really like this. And then the other thing is, it's got this expandable part in the back to where it'll, you know, it's more forgiving. A lot of times when I'll order caps, it's very hard because sometimes I'll get a medium and I realize I should have gotten a large, or I get a large and I think I should have gotten a medium. And sometimes a maker, their hats are not consistent all across the board. I don't know about Peaky. I just got this size. This is medium actually, because my head's like 59 centimeters around, and this fits perfectly because it fits. I mean, it adjusts itself, and I really, really like that. And I am not an affiliate. I asked them about an affiliate program. They don't have one. They don't have an affiliate program. They said that in the future they might. But if you like this, I'll put a link down below, and they oftentimes have sales going on. And I'm going to get some more. And I did talk to the guy who runs the company. I think he runs the company. I'm not really for sure, but I did talk to somebody from Peaky Hats, and they're very responsive, very timely, very kind. I like them. I like them a lot so far. So, Peaky Hat, fantastic. Check them out. Okay, I'm going to do something I did the other night. I'm going to take my Harper's Book of Quotations, and I'm going to flip through and just see what shows up in highlighted yellow, because I've read the book through before, and I made sure I could find the ones I liked again really quick because they stand out in yellow. So I'm going to just flip through this at random, and we'll go through a couple pages and talk about quotes. So I don't know. I'll just flip through and I'll stop. Okay. Here's a couple about music. Mozart. You know who Mozart is, right? He said, I write as I write as a sow piddles. I don't even know what that means. I don't know why I highlighted that in yellow. I write as a sow piddles. I don't even know if I want to see a video about how a sow does that. I mean, it sounds like he had a good sense of humor. Ed Gardner. Opera is when a guy gets stabbed in the back and instead of bleeding, he sings. Do you like opera? Because I'm not a really big fan. My wife loves opera. But I highlighted this because I guess I thought it was funny. He gets stabbed in the back and instead of bleeding, he sings. Okay. That's pretty funny. All right, let's go. Let's go again. I'm going to stop right here. On Death and Dying, Thomas Mann. He said, a man's dying is more the survivor's affair than his own. You know, I have to bring this up. There's a guy that I know at Subway. And he's probably 10 years younger than me. And his mother is dying. She might have passed away by the time that you're watching this video. And I don't think he watches my videos, so I feel like I can say this safely. I saw him the other day at Subway. He'd come in to get his paycheck, and he looked like he hadn't had sleep in days. And so people were asking him, how is your mother doing? He was very upset. And he says, we're losing her. We're losing her, but we're not ready for her to go. She's suffering a lot, and she says she's ready to go, but we're not ready for her to go. He's very upset about this. So he had kind of said this over and over again. I said, and I don't like to offer unsolicited advice, but I was feeling for his mother. I said, I said his name, and I go, listen, if your mother is suffering a lot and she's ready to go, it'd probably be good if you gave her that. Because you want to make sure the last thing she has experienced with you is that you're okay, that you're going to be okay. Yeah, but man, we're not ready for her to go. We're trying to get her to hang on longer. I just didn't say anymore. Because I didn't want to supersede the boundaries. But oftentimes, you know, it really is more about the survivor. Okay. Aldous Huxley wrote some good books. He says, a belief in hell and the knowledge that every ambition is doomed to frustration at the hands of a skeleton have never prevented the majority of human beings from behaving as though death were no more than an unfounded rumor and survival a thing not beyond the bounds of possibility. You know, let me... Okay, so this conversation's turned kind of dark. I don't want to depress you. But I have to mention this. The other day I got an order to go turn the power and water off at a residence. And it was not for non-payment. It was because it was a move-out order. You know, in other words, the account holder has the account closed. But I pull up, and there's 2 cars in the driveway, and I figure, oh great, someone's here. That means they're going to come out. I figure someone must have died, because that's what happens if they don't get it turned over in their name soon enough. The people who are living there will have the power cut off to prompt them to get it put in their name. Okay. Well, some guy pulled up behind me in a white pickup truck, and he gets out and he says, do you know the story behind this couple? I said, no, I'm just here to turn the power and water off. Because I figure it's none of my business. I'm just here to do a job. And he goes, oh yeah, well the couple that was living here died. And I go, oh, so there's nobody here? Because I was figuring someone was going to come out and try to stop me. There's no one here. They both died. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't ask, but he volunteered the information anyway. He knew full well what happened there. He said that a couple in their early 70s. The woman had cancer really bad. She died in the morning. This was about a month ago, apparently. She died in the morning. And that afternoon at 5 o'clock, he sat on his front porch and shot himself. And a pizza delivery man was across the street delivering a pizza to the customer over there. He heard it. He saw the man slump over. He ran across the street to try to help him up. That's when he realized that the guy had killed himself. And I found this quite depressing because, well, I told the man I was talking to, I said, you know, you have to think, as you get to be older, you have to know that one of you is going to go before the other. You have to have some kind of a game plan for what you're going to do with your life should the other person not be around. Now, I know that might sound insensitive, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, you don't know the guy didn't have a mental problem, or well, you don't know what he was really going through. No, I understand that. I understand that what I'm saying may not even apply. But I think there are a lot of people who are so codependent that they can't imagine life without the other person because that's all they do now is live for them. They know nothing else. That's what he told me. This man had no friends, no family, didn't have a social life. And I think it's very important for us to have other people in our life other than that one person. And that's really, and it's really tough on another person. It's a lot of pressure for the other person to know that they're the only thing that you have. They need to know that if something should happen to them, you're going to be okay. They need that. So you have to think about these things and build a life for yourself that includes them, but allows you to move on and continue a work, continue a purpose should something happen. So if you're at that place right now where all you do is you live for the other person, ease their mind a little bit, take some pressure off of them to where they don't have to perform for you all the time, and they're not going to have a breakdown, and that you're not going to have a breakdown should something happen to them. Make a plan. Make a plan. Now, I understand that he might have had something wrong with him, and maybe nothing could have been done. But there is a lot of people that do fit the description that I just mentioned, right? If you're one of those people, give that some serious thought. Okay, I'll do one more like this. I'll do one more page. Okay, I'm going to flip through this, and I'm going to stop right here. Oh, this is on experience. Jorge Luis Borges said, "What you really value is what you miss, not what you have." We always want what we don't have, isn't that right? Stop missing what you don't have. Start loving what you do have. Okay? George Bernard Shaw, he had a very sarcastic wit. He had a lot of funny things to say. He said, "Everything happens to everybody sooner or later if there is time enough." Yeah, that's true. And that's one of the scary things about life. That's why you've got to develop some kind of resilience and some strength. Just figuring that you're not going to be excluded from life's circumstances. Whatever fate deals you, or whatever fate could deal you, will probably happen to you. If you think like that, you won't be as surprised. Eli or Wiesel, he is the man who survived the Nazi concentration camps, toured the world talking about that. I'm not so sure I'm saying his name right. He said, "Not to transmit an experience is to betray it." Not to transmit an experience is to betray it. If you're keeping your experiences in life to yourself, well, if you're not learning from them, maybe you should. But if you've learned from your experiences and you can glean something from them, share them with others. People need to know how you've traveled the roads you've taken, the paths you've forged, the trails you blazed, and how you dealt with these things. Because there might be someone looking at you that actually respects you and wants to know how you made it. Because you might just be a template for somebody. So share your experiences with others. And start living your life based on the assumption that from now on, you're going to learn something from every experience so that it will mean something or give back to others what maybe no one else gave to you. Okay, so I hope those have meant something to you. I hope you've liked them. I'm going to do something I had fun with the other night, also in the other video, and I'm going to go onto my random topic generator and answer a few questions here. And you can leave some of your answers down below. The first one, I'm going to do about 5 questions, okay? 5 questions. Here we go. The first one that comes up is, when was the last time you went to a movie theater? That's a great question. When was the last time you went to a movie theater? For me, I'm trying to remember. It's been a very, very long time because I used to go to the theater quite a bit when I was in my 20s. A lot. I went a lot because that was the thing to do. I think the first movie I ever saw in the movie theater, and that's not the question I know, but the first movie I ever saw in the movie theater was called The Morning After with Jeff Bridges and Jane Fonda in it. I was 17 years old. I had never been to a movie theater before that. And I was just amazed. And all the kids I knew growing up had been to movie theaters all their life, but not me. I was 17 in my first movie. And then I went to movies all the time after that. But the last one I saw, I don't enjoy movies. I don't enjoy movie theaters so much. Movies, yes, but movie theaters, no. Because I don't like to listen to people eat with their mouth open. That's my main thing. And they're too expensive. I can watch these things on my 65-inch television, my Sony 65-inch television, with a better picture than the movie theater and spend less money. So I can't remember the last one that I went to. Gosh, I wish I could. I'd have to ask my wife. If we were sitting here, she'd be able to tell me. All right. So let's go to the next one. What will phones be like in 10 years? This is a great question. I mean, what do I think they're going to be like in 10 years? I don't know. I guess maybe, would there be a possibility that they'll have, like, you know, pop-up holograms like you see in Star Wars where they talk to you but they're standing in front of you in miniature? How about that? Would that be an option? I might like that. I got to remember not to use that function when I'm getting changed. Can you imagine how many times that will happen? But to even be cool to be able to even record that. I don't know. I'm not a real practical guy when it comes to thinking innovatively when it comes to cell phones. I'm just not. All right, that's the second question. What do you think phones will be like in 10 years? Leave your answer down below. All right, third question. What type of kid were you? What type of kid were you? Spoiled, rebellious, well-behaved, quiet, obnoxious? Man, yeah. Well, I wasn't spoiled. I can tell you that. I was not spoiled, not to any degree. Rebellious? Yes. Most kids are. Well-behaved? When I wanted to be. You know, if you stay out of sight, they don't know if you're behaving or not, right? But I would say no, I was not a very well-behaved kid, in spite of how I might have appeared at any given time. I did some horrible things. I don't know if I'll ever tell you guys. I may. It may come out in a conversation eventually. Quiet? Around my family, no. I was very, very talkative. But around other people, I was very shy. Okay, so I was quiet to a degree. I was an introvert, but just very loud. The other question was asked, were you obnoxious? Oh, yeah. What kid isn't to some point? Everybody is in their own way, right? Maybe some aren't. I think some are just more obnoxious longer than others. And here's the thing: all of my kids are much better kids than I ever was. I have great kids. They're all so good. I've had to worry a little bit, especially about my oldest one. But all in all, they're still really good kids. I mean, I've really had nothing to worry about. Not like my parents did with me. But that's not what. Let me see if I can answer that any better. What type of kid was I? Well, I don't know. I was pretty much to myself all the time because I had two older brothers that I wanted to engage with, but because there's an age gap of 4 and 5 years, they didn't want me around. That's pretty normal. I'm not feeling sorry for myself about it, but they didn't have me around. They didn't want me hanging around them, and I just kind of relied upon entertaining myself. So I had a thriving, pregnant imagination where I was James West of the Wild Wild West, or I was Batman. I read lots of comic books. I tried to be as much of a daredevil as I possibly could. I'd get into fights with the neighbor kids or with kids I didn't know in the neighborhood. And yeah, I was a little thief. I don't know if my mother even knows that. Up to this point, she might know. She's watching this video, she knows it now. But I was quite a little thief. I probably said too much. I forgot that my mom watches these. Yeah. Okay, let's go to question 4. Records, tapes, CDs, MP3s, streaming. Which did you grow up with? What is good and bad about each? Man, I grew up as a kid. We had those 8-track cassette tapes in the big stereo at home and in the car. And you might laugh at this, but I loved listening to Andy Williams as a kid. I just thought he had the greatest voice. I'd listen to his music over and over again. It sounds weird. But I listened to a lot of records. I mentioned that in my last video where I did my night talk, but I listened to a lot of Disney records. I had mostly memorized, but yeah, which did you grow up with? Yeah, what's good and bad about both of those? Well, I mean, I don't have time to go into it. I think I only have time for one more because I see my battery getting ready to die. What weird or useless talent do you have? To be honest with you, I've always considered myself pretty talentless. I don't have anything particularly remarkable. Anything I could do good to any degree, which has not been a large one, has always been extremely hard work for me. But innately, I've never really had a talent or anything quirky about me that somebody else couldn't do, which almost makes me sound like a boring person. Because it seems like most people I know do have some kind of talent to them that I don't, and I don't know how to explain that. And that's always bugged me, to be honest with you. It's always weighed on me. Because I always felt like everyone else around me had something going for them, and I didn't. So I've always just worked at whatever I've done that was of any use or had any promise. There you go. Those are just some random things about me. What are some of your weird or useless talents? Tell me. And I mean it when I say that. Leave something down in the comments below and let me know. All right, I have to get going because this is going to die on me. This battery here. I could switch it out, but I'm not going to. And now it is like 2:20 in the morning. All right, I really ought to be getting to bed. And if you're listening to this late at night, maybe you should be too. All right, guys, I've enjoyed my time with you. By the time you see this, I'll be in Key West. and I'll be making some videos from there. So keep watching. Watch some of my other recommended videos, will you? All right. Have a good one and be wise.